Hey, I don't want to come on here just to babble. Hope that some people join me today, although I'm always picking these times when people are usually at work or whatever. No matter. It's just an easy way to make a video without having to upload anyway. Um, so I thought I'd talk about the social media today. Uh, like Facebook and LinkedIn and all these different platforms that are out there. Have you noticed lately that I don't know if you notice, but my girlfriend and I have noticed that lately we're starting to get. Thank you, Eric. Sound is good. That's good. We're starting to notice that we're getting a lot of notifications, okay, from these different groups like Facebook, LinkedIn, anything that you might belong to, even GoDaddy, Pinterest. They all are sending us these things that are saying we have new rules and regulations, or we have a new, what is it? Policy. We have a new policy about our privacy policy and blah 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 blah. And they're continually talking about how this is for your benefit and how it's for your protection and your security. It's not, okay? It's not. If they send you something that is telling you that this is for your security and, that this is gonna be best for you and, that they're instituting some kinda new policy, then you better believe it's just the opposite of what they're saying. Basically, they're covering their ass so they don't get sued. Like Facebook recently is Mark Zuckerberg got pulled before Congress because of a huge data dump. Okay. And that means your data, that means your your specific personal information that you put on there voluntarily, and even some you don't. Basically, what they're saying is that they're covering their ass because they don't want to get sued. It's ridiculous. So whenever you go on any kind of platform, I don't care what it is, any social media, just know that all your data and everything you say and everything that you do, and possibly even pictures of you and the pictures that you post and everything that you put on there, it's all going to the government. It's all going to the NSA. It's all going to these spy agencies, the IC, which stands for Intelligence Community, has got your number. Okay. And so you should be aware of this. If you want to use social media, be my guest. I almost feel like they know everything about you anyway. So if you go on there, just be aware that they know everything about you anyway if you're on the computer. See, it's just like these remember when the little chips came out and they put them on credit cards and they said, "Oh, this is for your benefit here. This is for your security." It was just the opposite. It is just the opposite. So anything that anybody tells you from the mainstream media or from the powers to be or from any kind of source that's supposedly telling you the truth, including the government, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's just exactly 180 degrees of the opposite of what they're telling you. Okay. In other words, they're lying to you and they've always lied and they always will lie. Okay. So I understand that people like to go on, maybe they have a bunch of friends on Facebook or they have a bunch of friends on LinkedIn and they communicate with them, and it's a means of communication. Just know that everything you say and everything that you communicate to others and all the memes and all the photographs and everything that you put up there are probably being kept in a file with your name on it, okay? So I realize that a lot of people do have friends and a lot of people do have following and a lot of people do use these platforms to promote themselves or their business or what they have to do. And I'm guilty of that. Those close to me are guilty of that. We use it for our purposes. But it's always a catch 22, or it's always you got to weigh out the benefits for the non-benefits. And they are spying on us. And so anyway, just like I said, the security chip for the credit cards was a total lie, and so is the security. When they say they come on and they're saying that this is for your security, believe that it isn't, okay? It's funny, I went on Facebook recently. When I was first promoting my books and trying to network, okay, I went on Facebook. Matter of fact, I probably have about 5 Facebook pages for different reasons. But I haven't gone on in a long time, and I haven't been I backed off from Facebook a long time. Did I delete my pages? Well, no, I didn't, because I figured, well, um, I might need it. I might need it to promote a book or whatever. Now, Facebook, I have like 4,000 friends on Facebook. First of all, they're not friends. Okay, when you let somebody on there, what I did in the initial days, when I let somebody on there, it was because, well, hey, they like maybe they like my profile, maybe they like the fact that I'm an author, maybe they like the fact that I have native blood. So you know, ended up with 4,000 friends, but they're not friends. What is a friend? Well, a friend is somebody that'll take a bullet for you. A friend is somebody that agrees with you most of the time. Well, no, I kind of take that back. I mean, some friends, they don't always agree with you. They always, sometimes it's good to have healthy debate, but for the most part, usually they're on the same page. You might have differences somewhere along the line, but not radical differences. And if you do have these differences, well, you should be able to talk about it. I went on Facebook recently because of this anti-gun hysteria and posted a few things pro-gun and pro-freedom and pro-common sense stuff, right? Few memes, few sayings. And I was very surprised at the lack of likes I got for certain posts. And I was very surprised, out of those 4,000 people, that some came on there and were basically retarded and saying things that didn't make sense. They were parroting the mainstream media about this gun control thing. And so I will get into a healthy debate with these people, and I will present them with facts other than just knee-jerk reactions. And see, people don't want to hear facts. They don't want to, that they're They're too pie in the sky, you know? They want new laws, you know? They want new laws, new laws, new laws about everything, matter of fact. New laws, are ridiculous, okay? And I'll just take, for example, the laws on, firearms or gun control or whatever. Some of the laws, some of the strictest laws in the nation are in DC, and none of them work because the DC is the crime capital. There's more crime there than anywhere. So you want to be in a little reservation or a little area like that where there's abundance of crime and all the criminals have guns, that you can't have any to defend yourself. And anytime you make a new law, it doesn't fucking work. For the most part, it's just a ploy, okay, by the deep state, okay, to get control of the masses, okay. Laws that are made for you and I aren't made for them. Just remember that. They're not made for them. They're made just for you and you and I have to supposedly follow the law. There's so many goddamn laws on the books about everything that every citizen in the United States is probably breaking 100 laws a day and don't even know it, okay? So laws really don't work. Laws are about restriction. They're not about freedom. And I don't care what it is, whether it's guns or spitting on the sidewalk or whatever the hell it is, okay? Most laws are too many, okay? Too many laws, too many rules. This is not freedom. This is not being, this is, you know, you're living in a society where every time you turn around, if you sign something, it's under penalty of perjury, and you can be prosecuted for this and that. Do they ever prosecute you? Well, not for the most part. But they do have you on record as signing agreement, or say like when you go on to a media platform or whatever, and they have a little a little box down there that says, I agree, okay, and terms of service. That's what it is, terms of service. They have a little checkbox down there that most people don't go through, and I'm guilty of that. It's like, oh, fuck it. You know, I just go on there and check the I agree box, and boom. Just know that every time you do that, you're agreeing to their terms of service. And that's where they come back and get you, okay? Uh, or they try to get you. You know what? I've basically become immune. I laugh at this stuff now. I get warnings all the time on different platforms. Really haven't got one on YouTube lately, which is kind of surprising. Maybe they don't consider me a major threat or something. I don't have that many subscribers. Got a couple of 1,200, 1,200 subscribers. So they probably think, he's just small time. And but on other platforms, okay, I'll get warnings, and this isn't our policy. And you, like on Pinterest, you should delete this pin. Funny thing about it, though, most of the pins that they say I should be deleting, I got from them. You get emails and you go, oh, this person has an interest the same as you do. Could be about bikes, Harleys, or I have one called Eros, which is, I think, a pretty tasteful thing on eroticism, and got one on airplanes, and got one on stuff that I like that I just say basically mainly for myself, or I'll take it off and I'll use it on Campfire Council, which is a private media platform that I organized. Now, you know, that's a thing, while I'm talking about social media. You can look in the show notes, which I haven't even posted yet. I just jumped right on the air today. I'll edit it and put it in there. But in the show notes, there's a group called the Campfire Council, and basically we are a group of free thinking individuals, and we run the whole gamut from sacred to profane. Okay, we basically will post anything on there. Nothing is out of bounds except um, racism, okay, and any kind of Islamophobia or any kind of thing that is being projected or being propagated by the deep state and by the powers to be to divide people. So no, we don't allow racism on there in any way, shape, or form. And anytime anybody posts anything like that on there, it'll be deleted. But I welcome you to come into the Campfire Council, and the logo is a bunch of Apaches like Geronimo and stuff sitting around a campfire, probably on the run from the Bluecoats. And that's kind of like I like to envision the Campfire Council. It's a warrior society. Could be a peaceful warrior, it could be a spiritual warrior, it could be a real warrior. We're not all hung up on rules and laws and regulations. We're about survival. We're about encouraging others, having fun, breaking the limitations. And so we're not like a Facebook or this and that where they severely harness your ability to express yourself in any manner that you wish to. You know, and Pinterest too is the same way. They severely restrict your ability to put up stuff. Um, they have their own agenda. They have their own rules. They have their own take, okay, on what constitutes the definition of different things. And basically, their definition is very freedom restricting, very encumbering, burdensome. Yeah, I can't believe the people on Facebook, you know, I go on there and I get some of these comments and I'm like, "What, are these people drinking Kool-Aid or something?" Has Facebook become a bastion of, liberal thinking? Libtards, I call them, you know, liberals and retards, libtards. But I'm not judging all liberals because there's a, bunch of liberals that don't think like, the new liberals, okay? All that stuff's changed. In the old days, a Democrat was a liberal, okay, was something that you could live with, okay, something that maybe had some of the people's rights in mind. That's all done a 180 too. There is no true liberal anymore, and there's no true conservative. They've broken it down and broken it up into a bunch of different parts to where now you got all these labels like neocon, which means neoconservative, and you got those in both parties, okay? And you got people crossing party lines. It's all become a blur, people, because you know what? It's like a meme I posted of an Indian, and he's staring out at you, and he's saying, "Would you believe it if I told you that the left wing and the right wing belong to the same bird?" And that's the truth. There is no okay, and they want it that way because it confuses people. It's a mass set of confusion, and then you got the Christian patriots, and you got patriots, and then you got liberals, and you got it's a mess. It's a mess. You can't distinguish one person from another, okay? And then when you go on social media, You see that. You see that, for the most part, Facebook has become a bastion of, one side or the other, or, for the most part, people are, drinking the Kool-Aid of the mainstream media, and, well, let's put it this way, anybody that's on Facebook after Zuckerberg went before Congress and told them that millions of bits of personal data were, disseminated to the government and that the government, has access to this, what are they still doing on there? Well, but when I go on there now, I post stuff that I know is gonna piss the, Facebook people off and the CIA because I know that's what they are. So I'm pretty much out front about my views. Doesn't really matter to me. To me, it's more important about getting the message out. So that's another thing that you should consider. Okay, when you go on LinkedIn and Facebook, if you're going to go on there, don't just go on there and yabba 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 about nothing. Okay, unimportant things, things that don't matter, just bullshit trivia. If you're going to go on there, be a voice, okay? Have a voice. Be like the voice in the wilderness, okay? Speak your mind. Tell the truth about different things, about the government, about the deep state. That's another thing. I mentioned something about the deep state on Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, you mean you don't tell me you believe in the deep state?" Like that's some kind of big conspiracy theory. Boy, I feel sorry for those people. I really do. Don't tell me you believe in the deep state. Well, okay, what's your definition of deep state? I might ask them. What do you think the deep state is? Is the deep state occasionally? So when you go on social media, make sure that you use it as a platform for you being a voice, okay? Just like I am here on YouTube, I'm a voice, okay? And so if you think that what I'm saying is truthful or as close to the truth as you can get it, see, it's really hard to disseminate truth nowadays. It's hard. You really got to be on top of it. You got to be a strategist. You got to be able to sift through intel. You got to be able to, identify bullshit when you hear it. And the only way that you're going to identify bullshit is by knowing what it is. Okay. And the only way that you're going to know what bullshit is by keeping informed. Now, here's a thing that common sense, yeah. Common sense. See, that's a good point. A lot of people throw just common sense right out the freaking window. They throw it right out the window. They don't even consider it anymore. All they consider is the propaganda line or the main scum media line, or they go on emotional knee-jerk reactions to certain events like school shootings and nightclub shootings and Las Vegas shootings. See, they count on this. These people count on this because they're deep, deep, deep into mass hypnosis. It's another thing I've been thinking about mass hypnosis. Okay. Most people don't realize that the majority of the people in America are hypnotized. There's a mass hypnosis going on. Okay. Just like people drinking Kool-Aid. And it's done in a very sophisticated manner. You have no idea okay, how these people work. And the only way that you're going to have an idea how these people work is to think like they do, okay? So somebody said, never underestimate your enemy. Well, you know what? That's a very good statement because you want to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. In other words, you want to be able to know your enemy intimately so that you can know what they're doing. But getting back to the propaganda and to the mass hypnosis, people are in a mass hypnosis because the mainstream media works on them. The deep state and the CIA and all these people work through the mainstream media. And they do it on a regular basis, okay? And the way they do it is if you really want to have your eyes opened, okay, Google, and I don't even know if this is still available on Google because they're probably getting hip to people finding it. Google the Unconventional Warfare Manual that the spec ops people in the Army and the CIA, they use this manual, okay? And that manual covers everything in there on how to mislead people, how to fool people, how to use propaganda, how to turn one faction of people against another faction, i.e., racism or political divide or any number of ways, okay? And it's a thick book, okay? And if you go through that, you will, the hairs on the back of your neck will stand up because it's all about how to use murderous tactics, divisional tactics, dividing people, dividing nations, and it's all for the reason of like going in and overthrowing a nation and setting up a new regime, okay? Setting up a new regime. So this is a lot of people think, oh, this is just done when they go into countries like Libya or whatever, and they'd never use that on the American people. Well, in the first place, number one, most American people don't know about the Unconventional Warfare Manual, and number two, they don't know that Congress passed a law that says it's okay to use propaganda on the American people. So wake up. Okay. And realize that you're being controlled. Okay. You're being fed a line of bullshit. Okay. And it's happening every day, 24/7. Okay. And they're using the Unconventional Warfare Manual, and they're using tactics that are warfare, unconventional warfare. Then they use things like neuro-linguistic programming, all kinds of hypnosis techniques, and it's everywhere, and it's constant, and it's 24/7. Okay. And then somebody said they read it. Well, that's good. I'm glad people are starting to wake up. Now, whatever you read in there, believe me, they're not telling you everything they do, but that's enough to scare the shit out of you. So what basically they're doing here is they got everybody in mass hypnosis, and everybody like I said, when I went on Facebook, these people are in la la land. They're so hypnotized it's not funny. And why? Because people want to think, okay, people want to think that everything is hunky dory. They want to think that, oh yeah, we're free here. Everything's really for our benefit. We need more gun laws. We need this. We need that, and we'll be more secure. And they want to be taken care of. They want to sit there with a pacifier, sucking on that, like little babies, and think that everybody's just going to take care of them and everything's going to be okay. And they're living in la la land, just like when they see these things, when people still propagate the lie about that 9/11 was an attack from Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda and all that bullshit, when in fact it was an attack by our own government, orchestrated by our own government. And the truth of that has been exposed so blatantly by people like architects for 9/11 Truth and pilots for 9/11 Truth, which I'm a pilot, so I know what the deal is on that. And all these people for 9/11 Truth have published verifiable evidence, okay, that the whole thing was a setup, probably orchestrated by Dick Cheney and in alliance with the Mossad, okay. So that just shows you that people will believe anything. I mean, if there's a report out, an official report, they don't stop to see who authored that official report, or where it came from, or if it's one-sided, or if it's truthful, or if there's any dissenting opinion against it, or any of this. I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. I appreciate people coming in. I want to thank you for coming in. I'm willing to talk about things that you want to talk about here in a truthful manner. I'm not really political. I don't take one side or the other. I don't give Trump a pass on what he's doing if it's wrong, and I don't admit it. But if he does something right, I'll give him kudos. I definitely am aware of the criminality that has gone before with Hillary and Obama and Susan Rice and Eric Holder and all these clowns. I'm aware of the Q movement. I know about the Q movement. And I have opinions about that I have talked about before. I don't buy into anything. I just look at everything, okay? I look at everything because, again, it's always been kind of a hobby with me, okay, to be a strategist, to look at intel. And intel, to me, is information that you can get from any source, okay, on the internet or from. I always look at what the agenda of that source is. I always look at where they're coming from. Okay, sets, and they're coming from a place that they think is right. Now, I'm for anyone that's uncovering myths and giving us some intel, okay? But each source that I go to is going to have a slightly different twist, okay, on what the perceived outcome will be, or where it's going, or let's say what the deep state has planned, or what events they might have planned, or how they're operating. So I try to pick and choose the people that I listen to, and I hope that you do that too. And I hope that you tune in to what I have to say, and I hope that if you like this video, you share it and you give it a thumbs up and all that bullshit. You know how to share. You know how to spread the news. There's somebody out here that speaks truth as I see it. Now, that's always it's always something you have to consider. Anytime anybody is talking to you and they say they speak truth, It's the truth as they know it, as they see it, so you always have to take that into an account. But I really do try to dig for the gold nuggets. I really do try to disseminate information to people so as to wake them up. Um, I'm not what they'd call a conspiracy theorist, because that term was coined by the CIA, um, and that was coined during the administration or during that time when Kennedy JFK was in office and he got taken out. And they didn't want people questioning the official story, so they labeled anybody that questioned the official story as a conspiracy theorist, and that involved into a tinfoil hat wearer. So my point is with this is that it's really hard to disseminate truth, and I might say something on here that I think is truth, but later on I find out, oh, I was misled on that, or I've got new information. New information always supersedes old information. So I try to stay on top of it. Am I well known on the internet? Well, yeah, I mean, in a certain regard for my books and stuff, but as far as a following with YouTube, not really, not right now, because probably mainly because I do things when I want to do them, and I'm not like a talking head that just comes on to talk about nothing. Everything I say has meaning to it. To me, it does. So I'm I put my website rogerthunderhands.com in the show notes, and I also I'm trying to build a bigger following, and basically I'm trying to get a little support going here. So if you want to support me, there is links down there for Patreon and PayPal. If you think that I'm somebody you want to listen to and somebody that might have some valuable information, I don't just talk about world affairs. I talk about everything. I have a wide uh, database of knowledge that I can draw from. I would rather talk about spiritual things. I'd rather talk about the history of the Native American people and what they went through. I'd rather talk about warriors, and I will be doing more of that. I've done a lot of videos on that. The Apache people, Geronimo, Crazy Horse, what they went through, what they experienced, what the tribal people are experiencing today, how I feel about peaceful protests versus I don't want to say violent protests. I want to say well thought out protests where you don't get screwed over, and you meet their let's say their armament with your armament, not in a aggressive manner, but in a protective manner, just to protect yourself. I talk about the parallels between Native American, what happened to the Native American with the people on the Mayflower that came over here and basically decimated their society, and what's happening with this society, and how this society is basically like the new Indian, and the people don't even realize that they're on a reservation. I did a video about that. I try to cover a lot of areas in one video, and so sometimes I might be repetitive, but it's okay to be repetitive because the mainstream media is repetitive with propaganda. Okay, the mainstream media is repetitive with propaganda, and they're repetitive with lies. So you got to come out in order to counter that, and you got to be repetitive with truth, okay, and with information that's going to wake people up. So that's what I try to do, and like I say, I don't go on every day just to flap my lips about some insignificant thing or to spew a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A personal opinion about something that really doesn't freaking matter. Some incident where somebody says something about one political party says something about another, or I guess what I'm saying is I'm not really a news or news gathering organization. I have more of a specific areas that I want to convey to people. I should start talking more about spiritual things and some spiritual practices that I've been into for years and years and years, and philosophies and ways to improve your spiritual self, your enlightenment, your raising of your consciousness. I'll be getting into more things like that. Um, because that helps you transcend all the BS that we're seeing here. First, you have to know there's BS, okay, and know there's propaganda and know how it's affecting you, so that you can transcend it. So you'll know what you're transcending, so that you know that you can use certain spiritual tools to free yourself from these things. So anyway, I'm seeing I'm going on like almost 45 minutes here, and I don't like to keep these too long because people they might lose interest or whatever. So uh, check out my website. If you feel like supporting me, the links are there. And by all means, if you feel like you want to be a part of a social platform that's very limited in scope as far as membership, I definitely check out people that ask to join the Campfire Council. I vet them. I might even ask them why they want to join and if they know what it's about. So I have the Campfire Council, and there's probably there used to be 100 members at one time, and then I cut it back because if I don't see any participation, they're out of there. It's not a platform where people come on and they just sit around, okay. And if they do, well, then I slowly get rid of the people. Then once you come on to the Campfire Council, I have more of a secret society called the Crazy Horse Society. And I might take members from the Campfire Council and integrate them into the Crazy Horse Society, which is more about intel and warriorship and encouragement and participation and activism, okay, in regards to fighting the deep state and the powers to be and the new white eyes, the new blue coats, which are everywhere. It's almost an overwhelming task, but you know what? There is comfort and knowledge in knowing that some of your brothers and sisters are with you, okay, and they're awake and aware. And so I have a network. I would like to develop a network of people around the country. I don't rely completely on traditional communications. I am into shortwave radio. The technical end of that and the communication of that, well, you don't need any, don't need an internet. Just go direct through the air. That's pretty much out of the control of the deep state, or let's put it this way, they don't pay attention to us ham operators out there talking to each other as much as they do on this vehicle. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there today. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I want to thank everybody for the comments. Appreciate the comments here, and don't see anything that's really out of line as far as trolls go. Get more of those, the more people you get following you. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. It's Thunder. Till next time, adios.